Chainsaw Man is an absolute juggernaut of a franchise when it comes to music. We've got bangers like Kickback, Iris Out, and the masterpiece that is Jane Doe, which I've covered back to back to back. But the biggest bombshell that actually broke the internet was not when MAPPA announced the involvement of Yonezu Kenshi, but when they announced that not 1, not 5, not 8, but 12 high-profile artists will be providing the ending themes for each episode of the anime. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how this groundbreaking achievement unfolded, give a basic introduction to those 12 singers and the songs they provided, and at the end, share my personal ranking of all the EDs. Now, it's actually not unheard of to have multiple EDs. Bocchi the Rock has 3 throughout the season, plus a cover of Korogaru Yuwa Kimi ni Asa ga Furu by Asian Kung Fu Generation, who I've made a video about if you're interested. Ninja Slayer mustered around 40 artists for its EDs across the anime's TV and streaming versions. There are good songs, but overall it's more of a quantity over quality situation. Bakemonogatari has multiple OPs to match the main character of each episode, which gave us one of the most iconic anime songs, Nengai Circulation. Then you have anime shows that are more in line with idol culture, like The Idolmaster or Token Nambu, where the EDs are performed by the characters' voice actors. That being said, we have never seen anything on Chainsaw Man's level. Every single artist behind the EDs is capable of shouldering the responsibility of making a theme song for a popular anime. Some of them even more than capable. But how did MAPPA even think of pulling such an expensive wildcard? Well, it all started when they released a teaser for Chainsaw Man. It was already one of the most anticipated anime out there, and the animation shown in the teaser really gave people hope that the show's quality would reflect that of its source material, if not more. And after receiving positive feedback across the internet, MAPPA got flooded with contacts from music labels. That's when the controversial director of the show, Nakayama, suggested that since they have so many artists to choose from, they might as well get 12 EDs, each tailored for its episode. He communicated his idea to MAPPA, and their response was, it's not impossible. However, since it would be weird to have different songs match the same ending animation, they had to make sure the staff had enough time for some extra work. And well, since it was MAPPA, the idea was eventually greenlit. Now let's begin with the ED for episode 1, Chainsaw Blood by Vaundy. Vaundy is an incredibly talented all-around artist, not too far off from Yonezu Kenshi, I might even say. He's a great vocalist, an even better songwriter, and has a keen eye for aesthetics, having made and directed many of his own music videos. One of his most well-known songs is Odoriko, a song I personally consider to be perfect. Anime fans might know him for Hadaka no Yusha from Ranking of Kings. And he also writes songs for other singers, most famously Backlight for Ado in the One Piece movie. Chainsaw Blood is actually quite an old-fashioned anime song. It's similar to the 2000s and early 2010s shonen anime rock songs that were more energetic and up-tempo. There are a lot of people who are not fans of the show's direction in the first season, where it lost a bit of the manga's chaotic charm and was presented as a more serious and deeper story than it actually is. I always appreciate an artist for trying something different and new, so I respect the director, Nakayama's effort in that regard. But I did not enjoy Season 1. And I imagine that Vaundy's vision for Chainsaw Man, which is reflected in Chainsaw Blood, is what many people wish Season 1 had been. Next up is Time Left by ZUTOMAYO from Episode 2. ZUTOMAYO, short for ZUTOMAYO Nagade Inoni, is a music unit built around Akane, its vocalist and songwriter. Her highly recognizable voice, unique sense of lyricism, and versatility across music genres have gained ZUTOMAYO a sizable fanbase. They're best known for the song that propelled them to relevance, Byoshin Okamu. And anime fans should know them for Taidata from Dandadan Season 1. Time Left isn't a song that directly reflects the story itself, but instead explores Denji's unspoken feelings and fills the blanks between scenes. The aimlessness and inferiority that consumed Denji before setting his goal of brabbing. And despite the conflicts between his new teammates, their pointless arguments have brought color into his new life. This is a song about the process, the small things that make this larger-than-life story personal. In episode 3, we got Hawatari ni Oku Senchi by Maximum the Hormone. Maximum the Hormone, or just Hormone, is a widely recognized name in the Japanese rock scene, but not so much for the mainstream audience due to the nature of their genre. To be honest, I was not a huge fan of Hawatari no Kusenchi during season 1, because while I very much enjoy the drastic shifts in music and how their vocals work off each other, screams and metal just aren't my jam. But when the song reappeared in the Leze movie, I was really hyped. I can't deny how perfectly it matches the energy of a battle between bomb and chainsaw. Now, the interesting thing about Hawatari no Kusenchi is that even years after season 1, we still haven't heard the full version yet. That's because since Hormone are such massive fans of Chainsaw Man, the song's lyrics don't just cover episode 3, but beyond season 1, which means it includes spoilers. To what extent? No one knows until they release the full track. Although we did get a 70% version with the Leze arc. When they finally decide to release the full song, I'm definitely making a video, if this channel is still around. Next up is Josei by Toboe from episode 4. After experiencing early success as Vocaloid producer under the name John, in 2020, he rebranded himself as a singer called Toboe. While it took him a few years to move on from the label of Vocaloid producer, 2024's Itai no Itai no Tondeke and his second anime song, You Are My Monster, from the summer Hikari died, are testaments to his ability as a singer-songwriter. Josei was a tricky song to make because MAPPA wanted it to kind of function as Power's theme song. Toboe was confused about why they didn't look for a female singer, but decided to tap into his Vocaloid roots for his connections with Hatsune Miku. That's why Josei sounds very much like a Vocaloid track. And since Power has a very simple, almost shallow personality, that characteristic is reflected by the use of cheap sound effects throughout the song. In episode 5, we got In the Back Room by Shudo. Shudo is another highly regarded Vocaloid producer turned singer. While In the Back Room is still his most popular song as a vocalist, his most famous and biggest achievement as a songwriter is creating a song that changed the landscape of J-pop, Ado's breakout hit, Usewa. In the Back Room, as its name suggests, is about the hotel where the main characters were trapped in an endless loop. And the idea of using the term backroom is really a sign of the zeitgeist. If you remember a few years ago, there was this viral The Backroom footage that got turned into memes and games. Simpler times. The next song is Rendezvous by Canaria from episode 6. Canaria is one of the most popular new-gen Vocaloid producers, and is now the third straight Vocaloid producer / singer on the list. He made his name in 2020 with the breakout hit King, released only 3 months into his career. The song went viral among cover singers, and reached the #1 spot on Billboard's top user-generated songs, where it stayed for 6 weeks until Shudo and Ado's Usewa dethroned it. Rendezvous actually marks a special chapter in Canaria's career, as it's his first release as a vocalist. The song follows the story of episode 6, where Denji and Ko search for a way out of the loop. So aside from the first 2 verses, the rest of the song is the same music and lyrics on repeat. The next song is Chu Tayose by Ano-chan from episode 7. Ano-chan is a multi-talented former idol who is now incredibly active as a singer-songwriter, actress, model, and variety show regular. It's easy to brush her aside as a musician because of her appearance and quirky persona, but she is seriously talented, and I definitely plan to make a video about her. Episode 7 is where Denji defeated the Eternity Devil, went to the Nomikai, and was rewarded with the most traumatic and disgusting kiss ever. You know, maybe Denji should just never kiss again. Chu Tayose means kiss variety, so it's quite literal. And in the chorus, when she sings Geron Chu, Ano-chan actually pronounces it Gero Chu, and Gero means vomit, so even more literal. Ano-chan has been consciously avoiding making songs that are cute and poppy to distance herself from her idol days. But in order not to get buried in this immensely talented group of artists, she decided to embrace her strength, and the song ended up becoming a career-defining success for her. The next song is First Death by TK from Rin to Shite Shigure from episode 8. TK needs no introduction, as he's behind one of the most iconic anime songs ever, Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul. He is highly respected in the Japanese rock scene, and has been an influential figure in the industry for nearly 2 decades now. I've also made a video about him, so do check it out if you're interested. First Death is about the show's first truly impactful death, After a bonding moment between Denji and Himeno, everything went downhill, and Himeno sacrificed her life to save Aki. Given the context, you might have expected the song to be a ballad, but that's the brilliance of TK. The music stays true to the bizarre nature of Chainsaw Man, yet the emotional punch doesn't feel out of place. Fun fact, TK's not an anime fan, so he didn't even read Chainsaw Man when writing this song. The inspiration is solely based on this episode and his impression of the manga. From episode 9 is Deep Down by Eme. Well, it's pretty much impossible to be an anime or J-pop fan without knowing Eme, the voice behind several Fate series theme songs and Zankyo Sanka from Demon Slayer. Once again, I've also made a video about Eme, so that's another video to watch after this one. Deep Down is a song about loss, but not necessarily about Himeno, despite the ending animation suggesting otherwise. The lyrics are intentionally abstract and ambiguous to create an atmospheric sense of loss that anyone can relate to. It could be time, friend, family, or voice. Next up is Dogland by People One from episode 10. Despite being the least known on the list, the music by the band formed in 2019 is by no means subpar. From their successful debut album to singing for Chainsaw Man's ED only 3 years into their career, People One is definitely a band to keep an eye out for. Dogland is very much a song about dogs. Makeinu is a common phrase in Japanese, means loser. Denji had a dog in Pochita, then was adopted by Makima as a dog, and is forced to work like a dog as a devil hunter. It's quite an unusual theme for a song, but Dogland, out of all the EDs, in my opinion, does the best job at capturing Denji's roller coaster of a life so far. The ED for episode 11 is Violence by Queen B. Queen B is one of the most visually and sonically unique Japanese bands, thanks to their lead vocal, Abu-chan. While their biggest hit in Japan is Fire, released in 2019, most anime fans will know them for Mephisto from Oshinoko. Violence is a decently catchy song that's easy to listen to, but it's a bit weak compared to the other EDs and Queen B's usual standard. Lyrically, it doesn't have a strong connection to the anime beyond the word violence, which is a common trope among anime. The final ED for the season finale is Fight Song.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Whoa, what is this sudden wave of nostalgia? No, the other Fight Song by Eve. Eve is a popular singer-songwriter, especially on YouTube and Nico Nico. He's known for his highly recognizable voice and music videos that have better animation than most anime. In 2020, he released Kai Kai Kitang for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, and it is now one of the most listened to anime songs of all time. Fight Song, unlike the other EDs, is very positive and uplifting. Denji, Aki, and Power have all suffered throughout Season 1, and even though their relationship didn't start on the right foot, being a team and living together has brought a certain stability and peacefulness to their daily lives. As you can see in the ending animation, when they're not working, they do spend a lot of time commuting and grocery shopping together. That tiny smile from Aki is so precious. To end the season with Fight Song is such a great choice. While Chainsaw Man is known for its chaos and violence, it's the sliver of silliness and warmth that makes it special. Now, with all the EDs covered, let's finish by ranking my favorites from good, better, best. But before that, if you're still watching this video, consider liking and subscribing. Thanks! Alright, coming in at number 12 is, you probably guessed it, Violence by Queen B. It's not the worst song on the list, but it just doesn't add much to its episode. At number 11 is Josei by Toboe. Musically, not as strong as Violence, but I can appreciate his thought process behind his creative choices. At number 10 is Rendezvous by Canaria. The repetitiveness makes it the fitting ED for the episode, and while it's catchy, it's not the best listen. At number 9 is Deep Down by Eme. From this point on, the ranking is more based on the process of elimination, as in I enjoy these songs, but I still gotta rank them. Deep Down came at a moment where the fighting is finally over, and I got to process the fact that they just killed off who I thought was an important character. Surely that won't happen again. At number 8 is In the Back Room by Shudo. Well, that's one more song I hope Ado would cover. One thing I didn't mention previously is that the full version of In the Back Room is actually a very positive song. The loop became a metaphor of an endless love that has no exits. And number 7 is First Death by TK from Rinto Shigure. I'm not surprised that TK's song would fit Chainsaw Man, but I'm also a bit disappointed that I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? At number 6 is Stockland by People One. Normally this would have been a solid ED, but the competition is fierce. Down to number 5, Chu Tayose by Ano-chan. While it's not usually the kind of song I enjoy, after listening through all the EDs over and over again, I realized I would have been fatigued if not for Chu Tayose. At number 4, we have Fight Song by Eve. It's another breath of fresh air in an otherwise dark and heavy soundtrack. Also, it has one of the best music videos you'll ever see. And number 3 is Hawatari Nyoku Senshi. After multiple fight scenes and the lazy arc, it went from I'm not feeling it to there's no Chainsaw Man without some metal. At number 2, the runner-up is Time Left by ZUTOMAYO, the one that I listen to the most, but I'm ranking Chainsaw Man EDs, not just songs. And finally, at number 1 is Chainsaw Blood by Vaundy. Honestly, if not for Kickback, Chainsaw Blood would make an absolutely amazing OP for the anime. Just add a traditional shonen opening fight sequence and it would be perfect. But yeah, that's officially a wrap on the Chainsaw Man series. I've covered all the songs, and I'm done with this franchise for a while. At least until season 2. Share your favorite EDs down in the comments, or maybe an anime that also has a great collection of songs. I'll talk about Naruto and Beelzebub's soundtrack at some point. Thanks for watching. This has been Cushion. See you next time.